Beautiful.
Yeah.
This is what I actually care about.
Sounds great.
Is this past 5 minutes?
It will not happen, but I appreciate
No,
the
you
effort
need
there.
to please send it to me.
Beautiful. Episode
Please put it in the
89
episode.
from everyone.
He said
I'm
horrible
here.
things before he started filming.
No,
It was awful.
no,
But they're not in the episode, so
Yeah,
it's
they
just
better be.
everything's focused, everything. Yeah, should be good to go. Life is great here. Episode 89, I'm here with DOOMSCOPE. 3/4 of DOOMSCOPE. Just to get the elephant in the room out of the way first. There's supposed to be a fourth member of DOOMSCOPE here who woke up not feeling well today. So yes, 4 pieces of plan. It is still a 4-piece. It is always going to be a 4-piece.
Yep.
But 3-piece for the moment for the evening. I'm here with Parker, Sean, and Jay from DOOMSCOPE. I would have you guys introduce yourself, but that always feels like it goes slow and is not very much fun here.
You said 89?
Episode 89.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you were here for episode 1.
Let's
and
go.
then 88 episodes later, we're back. I think you're here sometime.
No, I was
between
here
now
like
and then.
3 more times.
Something between now
I'm
and
every
then, yeah.
20.
Something.
So you're just
except for
filling
this.
you're just filling a quota.
Yes.
Well, now I have guests.
Yeah. Quick plug here. If you're looking for music videos in 2025, let
I'm
me
Italian.
know. Let's book something cool. Talking right through my plug. That it's very respectful and awesome of you.
Who asked him to come here?
Yo,
I've
control
been
your
here
guitars.
before too, and it was way more civil.
Sorry.
Shit.
You don't know what an episode of me is like. Where's the cat?
I watched them.
Once the cat gets
More
here, it's
White
over.
Claw,
Yeah,
more
where's the
White
cat
Claw. He'll usually come hang out and yell at me at some point during this for not giving him enough attention last hour. And then that's my plug that we totally got through.
No, you can
perfectly
redo it. Redo it.
I don't want to. I don't care
Please.
about
Make
it.
music videos with Peter. He's the best.
And then, if you're interested in listening to cool stuff, listen to DOOMSCOPE. Faux Gods is out now, so third single is out. So Faux Gods, Pleasure of a Stranger, and Lifeblood are 3 singles out now. Videos out everywhere. Do streaming, do cool stuff here. It feels like the right place to like start this is by like putting Half-Hearted to rest here. So obviously, DOOMSCOPE is like a new venture for you guys. This is something that in the last 3 months, I think, since we launched. Is that accurate?
October, yeah.
October.
3-4 months.
3-4 months, I guess, when it's coming out, maybe closer to 4 months then. But yeah, 4 months here. Before this, there was a decade of adventures of traveling the country that I almost forgot happened, honestly, today when I was like looking through the shit and I was like reading the Half-Hearted Goodbye post. It was like, fuck, I didn't appreciate how much stuff got done under this name. Like, to me, it was like, my friends, we did the music videos. But then I forget this goes back to like Point Beach and it goes back to VFWs and it goes back to like so much shit before the couple of years that I like to think about and remember. And I'm sure for you guys that well of like memories goes even fucking deeper. I guess the place to start here is like what stands out like looking back at that, like what stands out as like a high watermark of it, like of those adventures, of playing the Warped Tours, of the touring the countries, of selling shirts, signing stuff. I know you mentioned like tattoos of logos, tattoos of signatures, like. And all of this shit, like what stands out as like a high watermark? What stands out as like something that you're proud to have done in the context of those Half-Hearted memories?
I feel like there's like.
Oh, I was going to say Parker first. Wow.
Oh, we're gonna like.
Yeah, we could do it.
We're gonna fucking have a conversation.
I was just trying to put him on the spot.
right?
I was trying to put him on the spot.
I was
I'm
ready.
gonna be muting James
ready.
right here.
You can mute
Jesus,
me.
Jay.
Mute me up. Mute me up.
I feel like it can't be summed to like one. I feel like there's different stages of it.
Yeah.
You know. So I feel like big ones that stand out to me are like the first time we got asked to play like a headline show at the Webster.
When was that? Do you have any memory like year?
2015 or 16.
Okay.
One of
16.
those.
I think 16.
No, yeah, 16.
Who was on that show? Now, this is the money making question.
Dude,
like-
actually,
that's
you know who was on that
crazy.
show?
It's like-
Windwalkers was on that show.
Yep.
Crazy.
Okay.
I think Values played that.
Values
show.
was on that show.
Values, yeah.
I couldn't tell you the
I
rest.
think,
We were on that show.
The
Yep.
Days Ahead was on that
Yes.
show. Yeah.
Indigos?
Yes,
Yeah,
Indigos was on that
Indigos-
show.
yeah,
Yeah.
Indigos
Yeah.
came out for that show.
Shout out
Indigos.
Indigos, dude.
What a
Yep.
blast from the past. That's such a
Crazy.
So that was a big one. And then I remember maybe only a year or two later, we dropped that yellow hoodie. And that wasn't our first headliner, but we did a headliner where I remember just coming out on the stage and it just being like 200 yellow hoodies, sold out show, but like more than half the people with yellow hoodies and being like, wow, that's cool.
That's a cool merch idea, is to sell something that's like recognizable. I never thought about it from that perspective. Like if you sell yellow hoodies, then it's very obvious. Where you sell black t-shirts and like you'll never fucking know who it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can sell
It was
something-
like that was the first show we sold the hoodies at, I'm pretty sure. And we sold so many like before we played, and everyone just like ditched whatever the fuck they were wearing before and put the yellow hoodie on. So we came on stage and we were just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's gotta be wild.
Nice. Yeah.
Damn. And of course you're like spending all day in the venues, like you've seen this kind of accumulate, but that's not the same as getting up on stage and seeing it from like the yeah, from that perspective, it feels like a whole new
sure.
new way to see the world there.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. So 2 headliners of the Webster, 100%. Hopefully we can. Yeah, those both feel like marks that we could reattain. That feel like things that Doomscope can absolutely get done here. What else stands out? Yeah, Parker, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. What stands out is like of all these adventures, all the tours, all the memories. Yeah, what stands out is something that you're like particularly proud of from the half-hearted era of life.
Stands out. Definitely. Warped Tour was a big one, especially just for me.
Yeah.
Of just being able to play it and kind of check that off the bucket
Was there
list.
a part of Warped Tour that like stands like playing Warped Tour is a big thing? Was there a moment like at 9 a.m. when you get there to like start loading your drum set that it hit you? Was it getting on the stage? Like what is a part
That's what I
of
was
Warped
gonna
Tour?
say. It was like pulling up to the venues and then seeing like, oh, you're parking next to 10, 15 of these bands that you like look up to, and all that. So it just it's a crazy kind of surreal feeling when you just pull up and you're like, all right, these are all the bands that I'm playing with today, and I look up to them, and it was. I think that's my biggest one, just Warped Tour, and just the headline shows and just all the fans and everybody that came out and picked up merch and signed stuff, and
Did the damn
all
thing.
that. So.
Yeah, I think there's something that like I feel like now. Whatever, I'm skipping ahead here, so I'll save that thought for later. But going back to your thought about going into Warped Tour, it's like, yeah, somehow over the winter, fall, over the last couple of months, I got to work with OAR at a big festival down in Maryland. And shout out Dom for making that happen. But when I walked in there, like, of that whole festival, the part that stands out to me the most is getting into the venue, like the big festival grounds before everything, and I see Blink 182 loading in. And it was one of those, like, it's crazy. Like, I saw the festival, I saw the shows, I saw the bands play, but, like, somehow being in there before and seeing the behind the scenes of it was like, oh, this is very real. This is not somewhere I was supposed to be. And it sounds like your Warped Tour experience was a similar thing.
For sure,
like,
yeah.
Being on stage is cool, playing the thing is cool, but somehow the coolest part is being like, oh, I'm actually here. I belong here.
Yeah, seeing those like bigger bands like loading in, or like even if like you're at catering or whatever, and you're like standing next to somebody that you look up to. I don't know. That was a surreal, like, cool, biggest part for me.
Our first year on Warped Tour, show on Warped Tour, was also crazy because, one, we got rained on. We were in that little grove in Mansfield.
This is
and
Mansfield,
Mansfield, yeah.
But it was like, not only was it surreal because it was like, holy shit, we're playing Warped Tour right now, but it was like us, values, boundaries. It was all the bands that we like started with in Point Beach were playing Warped Tour for the first time. So it was like, just
How did
insane.
that come to be? Is that like
I think it was a Justin Leah thing.
It
Yeah.
sounds like a
was.
Justin thing. If that's the group of bands, it sounds like that would have been a Justin thing. But I didn't know he like.
There were more too that
that
we're
whole
forgetting, but like,
Okay.
it was so many. Like
That was just like
that
our
first year.
Our tents like were the three of us were like right
Yeah.
next to each other. Yeah.
Damn.
It was sick.
Yeah.
The rain was not sick, but
Every
The
week is a
rain-
new like
yeah.
shout out Justin Leach moment on this show of like, God damn, he has helped
For
so many
real.
people do so many
Yeah.
cool things here.
For sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Jay, big headliner of the conversation here. What is a highlight? Yeah, what is a highlight of half-hearted times? What stands out as like a high watermark? Something you're proud of, something that made you happy.
Playing
at that time?
Headshot every day.
that was a different band. That's a different human. Different human being.
What is a headshot?
My Children, My Bride song.
That was
On
fun.
the full US tour to the 2 sets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going on your very first
duty.
U.S. tour, playing 30 shows and playing 2 sets every night. That's fun.
How did you survive that?
I didn't.
Okay.
I mean, I did, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't a human being afterwards for like
Yeah.
a month or 2.
He had way less
We're
fun than
fine.
us.
I didn't drink at the time. I was like 20 or 21. And we made it work. It's fine.
That's not. It feels like such a like.
I don't know how I
unbelievable
did
way.
it. Looking back, I don't know how I did it. Like, I couldn't do that now. I guess I was just younger and I wanted to be there really bad. So I was like, I could do this. And so I did it. But like, I remember like after day 1, we were in like Arizona in like the middle of fucking nowhere. And it was so hot. We slept in the van.
Yep.
And I was so tired that I slept in jeans, which is vile
Yep.
and fucking disgusting.
In Arizona?
In Arizona. It was horrible. And I woke up and I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this 29 more times. And then we got to the venue, and I'm not like a person that smells very often. And I just remember we were loading in, and fucking he comes up to me. He's like, dude, he's like, have I ever told you this before? And I was like, no, you haven't. He was like, all right, I got some shit for you. He like sprayed me with like, he gave me some like cologne or something. I was like,
Aqua
thank
de
you.
Joe.
Yeah. It was
What
so
I love
bad.
is halfway through that, you started laughing and you knew exactly.
He knew.
what
He
were
fucking
talking
knew.
about.
Yeah.
You mentioned, I'm going on a tangent here, but you mentioned that like you don't know if you could do it again, and that sometimes scares me. I look back at like my own 20-year-old self, like all the shit that it took to get this thing going. of like, I don't know if I could do 100 shows in a year for free. It's like, I don't know if I have that much in me. And that kind of scares me now. I was like, it's like someone who is self-employed, and I know that we're all, pursuing different creative pursuits here of like, I would like to believe that I still could do it. And I just like need to be like hungry enough and desperate enough. And at 20, you're so hungry and so desperate that now if like the thing pushed, but like somehow that's scary to me. And I guess as we transition here to like starting a new band, like, is it also scary to now start a new venture and go, fuck, could I do the thing I did? Can I get back to this place? Like, was it nerve-wracking to then end the half-hearted thing and knowing that we've had these like successes under our belt and then we have we kind of have to start from scratch? Or was it like a new opportunity? Like, what was the like perspective and kind of the final days of half-hearted here when you kind of realize like, oh fuck, we're about to square one.
We're doing this.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't scary. I feel like I more so felt like we weren't gonna do stuff like that as half-hearted again.
Yeah.
Because we didn't. I don't know. We did too much for too long. Too different.
Yeah.
When we started this band, like I was like 19. Jay was in high school. Like we picked the band name we wrote down like a list of things that both started with the same letter, just so we could have a logo that was the two letters.
Sure.
Like our goal was to go play like hall shows with our friends. We just made a bunch of mistakes. It spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know about naming the band just because the letters matched.
yeah,
Were there other like?
it meant nothing.
Damn. Were there other band names that were like running? Do you have any memory of like what the forgotten band names are?
I don't.
That would be.
Do you?
Yeah. No, I don't.
No.
I don't remember
well.
any of them. I remember me and Mike worked together at like a pool store at the time, and I remember we were doing it like in a group chat,
Yep.
and we like came up with like a list, and all of us kind of unanimously were just like, these all suck. Half-hearted's fine. Let's just do that one.
It's the one we can live with a little bit, so we'll move
Yeah.
forward with it. Yeah.
There was like another half-hearted at the time too, in like 2014, and I remember like they were cool. Like they weren't like weird about it. We were just like, whatever. There's two of us, and then I don't know what happened with them. Like we just like we're doing more shit and putting out a lot more music, and we kind of like, I don't know, like surpassed them at the time. And then I remember they hit us up and they were just like, hey, like we're like actually not really like a band anymore. We have all this merch that says Half-Hearted on it. Like, do you want it? Which I was like, that's really weird, but also like
That's kind of
nice. Like thanks.
It's a very nice thing to do, but who the
I
fuck
said
would say
no.
yes to that?
I said no, but I was like, that's cool.
That's
like,
the
sick.
most local band thing I've ever heard anyone ever do. Is like,
To
we
be
have
fair,
this merch. You could. Yeah.
I don't even think they wanted money. They were just like, hey, like if you just like paid for shipping, could like you could just have this. And I was like, no, it doesn't like go with what we're doing.
Yeah.
I
Like,
feel like that happened, and Marty was in the band at that time, and that's when he bought us the first two shirts. I feel like we were like, nah, we don't really like those shirts. We'll get there at some point. And Marty was just like, well, I kind of want shirts, and he bought those two first shirts.
yeah.
Sent them to you the other day, remember?
Oh, I have them.
Yeah.
They're in my basement. A couple of them. There's a couple
The
small
OGs.
still left from like the old
One of them-
days because no one wears small shirts.
What were the
I've got a
first
couple
two?
sitting here that I'm trying to get. I gotta get Ashanti back here and be like, here, take 7 shirts. I don't know if anyone else is gonna fit into a small, so this is the only option.
The last run of Half-Hearted merch we ordered, we just didn't order smalls.
Yep.
Like
That's
no.
the only way to
if
do
we
it.
Whenever we do DOOMSCOPE merch, there's no smalls. Figure it out.
Just get a bigger shirt.
You
Like,
either
no
wear
one's-
Yeah, I
if you're
feel
a
like
tiny
that-
human, you wear oversized or you fucking hit the gym, bro. Like
Yep.
Yeah,
Figure it
the
out.
XL oversized fit is like
Yes.
kind
That's
of
the
where
way.
it's at right
Yep.
now.
I'd be remiss here if I didn't also mention the infamous set sail and half-hearted beef back in
Yes,
the day.
sir.
The
insane lore.
set your sails and now they're ripping your sails. Whatever the fuck that lyric
I don't
was,
know.
lives rent free in my brain. Break deep was the beautiful song here. And of course, growing up as the biggest set sail fan of all time, second to a couple people that I'm very okay to be in second place to. It was
crazy.
Like, damn, yeah.
I know the people ahead of you too.
Yeah, I'm sure they gave you some good experiences as well.
Dude, the funniest part about that was we were putting that shit out, and then like Sean Vogel was like, we were like chilling,
Yep.
and like Mike Crespo and like all these people that like and like Peter and like
Dude.
all these people that I'm friends with, and I was just like, all right, we're doing this, I guess.
I didn't.
Cool.
I want to say that's the only song that I never wrote lyrics to.
Okay.
I don't know that it is. Well, obviously Mike wrote a lot of lyrics.
Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah.
But I want to say that's the only song that me and him wrote 0 lyrics. I know me and him wrote 0 lyrics to it,
Yep.
but I think that's the only song that anyone else in the band ever wrote.
That tracks.
Yeah.
It's also a funny memory to me. As every time I mention that, one time my mom listened to this like religiously, and it's great. Hi, Mom. Hope you have a great day right now. And at some point, she mentioned, I don't remember who I was talking to, or somehow this came up, but she was like, they're all such nice people. How did this happen? And so at some point, it's just me and my mom, and I'm explaining to my mom, like, Set Sail and Half-Hearted, how these two entities came into contact. And yes, exactly that. Everyone was kind of friends behind the scene, and it was this
That's
weird
so
thing
awesome.
of like,
Yeah.
They're so stupid.
yeah. And explaining that to my
so
mom
dumb.
really highlighted like how absurd the whole thing was of like, what are we even talking about here? What is going on?
Marty just wanted like woe is me style beef, I think.
Dude, when the Kendrick and Drake thing was happening, I was convinced that we were going to see more of it popping off because of that. Because like Kendrick and Drake both gained so much from that and are still gaining from it that it's like I was expecting to see insert band name. I'm going through 10 in my head that I don't really want to say publicly, but it's like, yeah, I guess for one of them, it's like Following in Reverse is like, I was waiting for them to just go at someone. And of course, Ronnie's going at people all the time anyway, regardless. He doesn't need the extra motivation.
Yeah.
But like, it seemed like such a cash cow that I was like, someone's going to do this. Someone is going to like go to their friend and be like, hey, we're buddies right now. Me and counterparts are good friends, but just for the sake of record sales, we both got stuff coming up this month. Let's hate each other for a little bit here and see the boost we can get.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful I was wrong there, but
I mean, there's been dumber marketing stunts done by people.
100%. There's a couple that come to mind here, and I would love to get into them, but some of my friends are currently on tour with one of the bands that I'm thinking about here. So I'll let that one die in my brain, and we can chat about it later and celebrate it. So yes, then forming DOOMSCOPE sounds like it was like an exciting opportunity of like, this thing has run its course. We've done the things. We've put out 100 songs, 100 different genres, and I enjoyed all of them, but I can understand as an artist, as someone who's trying to build a brand here, it's tough to have 100 different flavors under this one catalog and one umbrella. And that's when it seems like it becomes a very obvious choice of like, all right, fresh start, fresh slate, fresh socials, which feels like a very bold move here. Like I think
Well,
And we like rebuilt after like losing Mike and Vogel, and then we, luckily we had Justin and Leah and stuff, and like things already planned and kind of carried the momentum that we already had, and like sort of bubbled back a little bit, and then like we got to pandemic and we dropped an album and we were probably at our peak right then, and then
the most
everyone in the
everything
world got
shut
crushed,
down.
and then we were like, we don't want to reinvent ourselves a third, fourth, fifth time. Like, if we're gonna do it, let's really reinvent. Like,
Yeah.
just
I mean-
fresh start. Let's write from like, because now we're writing songs after writing 60 other songs. That every song we write is compared to like the last one and the last 40 before that.
Yep.
If we're gonna write, we wanted it to just be like, compare this to just this right now. This is us.
Which I think is wise. I think it's also like the reality behind most bands. It's like very few people at 16 start the thing that we now know them for at 35. It's like there's usually 10 failed bands. So there's only one failed band in the way. It's like we're doing pretty good here.
Hell
maybe
yeah.
there's a couple more before the half-hearted little things that happened in high school or whatever. I think Sean, we talked about a couple when you were on. If my memory is correct here, but it's like that is the normal course of action. It feels like a mature thing. It feels like a really brave thing. Like I think if I'm in a band, I think my temptation would be like, I think I would be scared to like start from scratch. And I think part of what I like about my thing is like, I don't have album release cycles. I just put out a video and then I put out a next video. And I don't have to think about trying to tie all these different ideas together. And like all the work that went into building what was Half-Hearted, it seems like it'd be really scary to just like abandon. But it sounds like you guys are much more like
here's the thing,
optimistic
though.
and brave.
The last Half-Hearted EP we put out was like back to being like kind of heavy, kind of like
Full
what
circle.
people used to like from us.
Yeah.
And it like didn't do that good. So then we wrote all these new songs and we were like, okay, well, these songs are way better. Like, do we want to put this out under the same thing where we keep putting stuff out and it doesn't really do much, or should we just start over? And so it's just like, fuck it. Let's just
And there is
do
something
that.
new to starting over, right? There
Yeah.
would have been a bunch of people who have seen the name Half-Hearted in one context or another. I'm talking about like a fan of music out in Kentucky, or just like a person who likes this music who would have seen it and would have gone, oh, that's not for me.
Yeah.
And they might have said that's not for me to Fun, or like one of these songs that like doesn't really align with what I think you're trying to do now, or like these pandemic songs probably is the best way to refer to them, of like just these new flavors of music that were introduced here. And then that person's like, when the new Half-Hearted, if the DOOMSCOPE EP was a Half-Hearted EP, they would have looked at it and been like, no.
Maybe not even checked it out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now there's a new name. It's like, this is a brand new entity with a whole new first impression to be
I've gone to
formed.
so many shows the past, 4 months.
Yep.
And I've never had so many people come up to me at shows just like, dude, like I really like the new band.
Hell
Like
yeah.
like ever. When we were, I felt like we were like at our peak for like at least locally around here. Like now it's just like, oh shit, like every show I go to, like someone comes up to me and it's just like, oh dude, like I really like the new stuff. It's like people that I feel like you're kind of right, like wouldn't have even listened to it or would have written it off. It's just like it's a new thing now. Like give it a chance. You know what I mean?
And it's so funny that like even if the EP was under the same name, it still is a new thing, right? Like if the other things were written 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it's like no one's the fucking same as they were artistically 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter to a consumer at the very like base level of that. And I know for you, Parker, like the pandemic songs, I know we would chat behind the scenes always of like, you're a heavy drummer, you're a metal guy, you want beatdown, you want
Yes,
chaos. And some of those songs I know were like, you're happy to support the band, happy to be a part of them, but wasn't the song you would have written from scratch. Seems like Doomscope is finally where like Parker's back. Parker's getting to write some fucking ass beating riffs. A Faux guy that just came out the other day. Like that breakdown as I was working on the video, like it never stopped being fun to me. Like every time it was like, we're at that part. Thank God we're in the home stretch here, and that's where I could hear you screaming out of this of like, Parker's back. We got him.
Definitely, yeah. I feel like when like Half-Hearted started, it was kind of right in my wheelhouse. I mean, Sean added the pop kind of like singing elements, but I grew up on, you know, heavy stuff and a lot of like early Connecticut heavy, you know, music, especially heavy music. So, you know, going back to now we're hitting the heavier stuff, it's definitely feels right and feels good. So
feels home.
Yeah.
Was there ever like a beatdown Parker era? I'm trying to think of like a side
No,
project you
I
ran
mean,
at some point. We really got
before
to like,
Half-Hearted, I was in like 2 bands, but nothing that was like anything,
okay.
you know, crazy. One band, my first band, we did play a lot of like Connecticut shows and stuff like that, but didn't hit where Half-Hearted kind of hit. So I always had that kind of heavy element in me that was just trying to like get let out. So now we're kind of finally everything's coming together. So
It feels like
good.
a good like central point of what I think of all your interests and what I think you guys all enjoy. It feels like Doomscope is finally like, triangulated in the middle of that. Or I guess whatever if triangulated is 3 people, I don't know what
Quadrangulate.
Quadrangulated.
There's no way that's
Hell
a word, but I'm praying it
Jimmy,
is.
can you Google if triangulate?
We making
quadrangulate is a
vocabulary,
word?
brother.
Making vocab words here. And of course, my note here is this is where I was going to cut to Nate and be like, so Nate, must have been hard to like join this well-oiled machine that's been working together for so long. So I'll cut to Nate. No, I won't. FaceTime Nate right now and be like, dude, I know you're dying. I know you have like 1,000-degree fever, but just like, give us a sentence here. But for you guys, it must have been tough to like welcome in a new pair of eyes and ears to this whole endeavor. Like it feels like you guys have been working together for so long that introducing someone who is kind of a wild card in a lot of ways. Like it's not something that has been in 100 bands you've played, that you've toured with a bunch of times. You kind of knew like this feels like it was a surprise. And again, I wish he was here to put his 2 cents because I feel bad having a conversation about Nate that he's not here to answer for himself. But was it tough welcoming someone into the studio? Like I'm thinking of physically sitting in the studio. It was like when the first time he comes in, like was it tough to like open the doors to him and give him the keys to the kingdom, so to speak? Was it an easy transition? What was that process like of inviting someone else into this well-oiled machine?
It was really easy for me because Nate was in all of the projects that I was in when I was really young, when I was learning to record.
Gotcha.
So as far as I know, he's only recorded at like 2 other spots. And one of those was with a band that I was in.
Gotcha.
So me and him have done a lot together. And he's just insanely good and creative.
Yeah.
So, and he's really good about just like figuring out like where we're at with the song, where he can, fill the gaps. And like, if Jay's like got a riff and he's just playing it, Nate's like happy, like, yep, like we're just going to do that. That's cool. If he sees a spot that he's like, oh, this part is kind of open, I can like do cooler stuff. Check this out. Like he's super good at working with us and just coming in. And I was comfortable with him right off the bat. I mean, it seemed like everyone was, but I was the only one that kind of worked with him before. But
that feels so. My analogy here is like I remember sitting in studios with bands, and obviously I've never been in a band. I've never been the person paying for the recording session, but I've been in plenty of studios when people are recording. And there was one time where I was with Call It Home at the time actually, and they were in a studio recording a new EP, and they were working on like the lyrics, and so they're all like spitballing lyrics, and I remember like throwing out my 2 cents of words, and I don't know no sense of what the context was, but I said it, and everyone goes, nope, not those ones. And of course, yeah, I'm not a lyricist. I always do my best to try and be a vocab guy. But it really like highlights me how scary it must be to go into that recording studio and be like, what if we try this on the bass line? And it was an interesting thing of like, I had never had that experience of it. Like, yeah, usually it goes well. I would hope that I gave some word at some point in the lyric writing process that worked. But a lot of, my memory is like, I was like, oh, I got this. And no one else agreed with me. And that's art. That's what creating is.
Yeah. That's like the perfect balance of anybody in the studio, though, is like, I have ideas and I'm going to offer them. And when it's not the best idea in the room and we flesh that out, I'm totally cool with using whatever is the best idea.
Yep. Yeah. But I think there's like the rapport there is the key part, right? Where I assume one of these two guys, like obviously you're doing most of like in the seat at the computer, but I'm sure everyone else has their own 2 cents and their own inputs on it. And I feel like when Jay or Parker says, hey, what if you agree or disagree, like it's much easier to be like, no, I love you, but no.
Yeah.
And I think when a new person comes in, that if it sounds like, I guess I wasn't aware of all the background of you and Nate, but it sounds like that like, that I love you, but no is a much more complicated thing where all I got was a no. And it was like, I needed I love you, your brain works, but this ain't it kind of thing.
It's definitely when, like in studio, when I'm working with other bands that are not my band, it's like the bands that I've done a whole album with and we've been working together for a year, it's very easy and quick to just be like, nope, that's not it. The like, we've worked together like 2 or 3 times. It's like a conversation, like, let's flesh this out. Let's and ultimately arrive at we love each other still, but no.
And I think there's a weird thing there where like the other part of this is I think like with audio, it's like everyone's the expert. Like in video, this happens to you all the time too. It's like people come to me and say, hey, what if? And the art you learn is like you agree with it, you do your best to accommodate it, and sometimes you just go, we'll see. And they're not behind the camera, they don't know what I'm seeing. So I've kind of internally gone, no.
Yeah.
But we'll play this thing. I'll let you think that there's an opportunity to this thing. And then when the video is all done, no one ever remembers this little piece that we talked about. With audio, when we're sitting there watching the thing get created, it's like that window doesn't feel like it exists. It feels like everyone's on the same page here, and it's much harder to like keep a secret. Like I feel like that no has to be much more like decisive than my no needs to be. My no can be like, we'll see. Yeah. And yours is like, I'm pushing record right now, or I am not. And then you're going to hear that bass line is in it, or it is not.
Yeah.
And it feels like it'll be a tough balance to try and find there.
Yeah, so it ends up being a lot of like, kind of, I call it like throw the kitchen sink at the song and then refine it. So every single idea, we'll just record it, hear it, listen to them all, and then it's a longer process than we'll see, and then not do it later.
100%. My other thought here is like, it feels like I keep calling this a start from scratch, but I don't think it is a start from scratch. And my analogy here is like, I start as a photographer and then I eventually get into video. And like, that feels to me like what has happened here. And what I mean by that is like, when I started video, it was a new beginning. It was a fresh start, but it wasn't at all because I'd already gone to all the shows. I'd met all the people. I'd practiced getting the photo pass. I'd practiced going, like using the camera and being in the environment. That then when like video got going, it was like, okay, I'm learning this new skill set, but it's by no means like day one from scratch. A1 beginning. Is that kind of where it feels like now, where it's like technically it's a new beginning, but it's a beginning with everything we learned from this past chapter that we can now integrate and like make better here.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm seeing you, you light up over there.
So many mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
So many mistakes.
We know exactly what not to do. Now we have Jay does all of Jay's stuff. I do all my stuff. Parker's now like SJC endorsed drummer. Like we have everything that we have ever worked for as like day one, step one for this band.
Can I ask what's like one of the mistakes that we definitely don't want to replicate? Like what stands out as one of the ones of like, I really wish Half-Hearted had not made X decision as an entity.
I don't know. There's so many.
The biggest glaring one is just like having an identity day one. Like we intentionally sat down when we went into this band after having songs done, being like, what is like the identity of us? Like, what's our image? What's our band name? What's the band name mean? Like, what's the lore? And Half-Hearted had none of that. We were just doing whatever felt right at the time. Like, this band has rules.
Yes. I think that's such an important part here, and one of my next little point for us that you segued into perfectly, just like this year of buildup, where like I assume at some point if Half-Hearted dies, let's say October 2024, my assumption, I don't know exactly how this all played out, but my assumption is somewhere at the end of 2023 was when these conversations were happening between y'all behind closed doors, and then at some point there it becomes formalized, and then there's 10 months of getting things ready before you roll out and announce DOOMSCOPE as an entity. That year to me almost sounds like the best part of being in a band, of this time of like nothing is real, nothing exists. We're just playing in a sandbox together, and it feels like a really fun like deviation away from most bands. They're like, when is this EP coming out? How is this thing gonna sound? Like, there's so many like business-oriented questions, and this feels like you guys got to throw away all the business for a year, still have Half-Hearted existing, and everyone's listening to that thing that exists, and y'all are going, nope, we're cooking, and no one else knows about it, but we know about it, and it's like a little inside secret that is fun because it's a secret, and secrets are always fun to have. But also, it's like, yeah, you just get to play in a sandbox. Like, what is that year like of getting shit ready? Of from the moment you guys go, Half-Hearted, chapters closed, we're moving on, to then, yeah, Doomscope release, like, am I accurate that year is the best time of the band? Like, is it a scary year? Is it a trying year? Like, yeah, what is that, like, year-ish of time like?
It was definitely fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like, half of it was, like, we like, there's probably, like, I mean, by the time this comes out, we'll probably have announced, like, the whole release and shit, but, like...
Don't look at us. You're the one who knows all those dates.
I don't know. If I decide not to, then if you made it...
it's up to him,
if you
right?
made it 30 minutes into this podcast, then you get it first. But, like, we wrote a couple of the songs still kind of, like, under the assumption, like we were just writing songs. So they could have been half-hearted songs. Like, they were before, like, the last half-hearted EP was up. We were already, like, working on stuff. So there's a couple songs that we were like, all right, cool, this is going to be for this. And then I don't remember which one we wrote. We wrote one of them. It might have been Pleasure.
Okay.
It might have been...
It was Pleasure.
I think it was Pleasure.
I think we wrote Pleasure, and we were just like, this can't come out under this band name. Like, straight up, it just can't. It has to be a new band. Like, this is too good to not
because also,
do that.
when we were in the transitional period, before it was Doomscope, it was, we stopped, like, practicing. We had, like, half-hearted, if we had continued, like, Nick wasn't really wanting to do anything but, like, maybe studio stuff. So we were, like, maybe writing for just, like, we didn't know. We were like, maybe Half-Hearted is just going to be, like, an
studio
internet
band,
project
yeah.
or something, like, and then we were writing and it got way more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like once we decided it was going to be a new thing, then it got even more fun, because then we were like, fuck it, we could do whatever we want. Like, who cares? Like,
that's
new
what I was
band.
going to say. As soon as that hit and it felt like, all right, this is a new thing, and like everything just felt fresh, and it felt like it was something we wanted to do, but we just weren't there yet. And then it just everything started falling into place, and it was like, yeah, this is our time to, put Half-Hearted to bed, and let's keep this good energy going.
I feel like no matter how hard we tried to write new Half-Hearted stuff, and like do new stuff, and like just be like, all right, this time we're just gonna say fuck it, and like, what do we want to do now? Like, what's gonna be really cool to us right now? Like, we still were playing to like our own rules to a certain extent, and the second that we were like, this is not going to be for Half-Hearted, like, we just started writing way different. Like, things just got so different with, like, not intentionally. Like, it was like we were like freed.
Yeah.
It makes my brain go like, how do I replicate that? Like, it's such a beautiful, like, it sounds like you guys were like if this is a 10-year relationship that's now going on to year 11, and somehow in year 11 you're like, what if we just go back to the honeymoon phase again? What if we just like skipped all the bullshit of a relationship, just got to go back to day one before anything was stressful? And it's like, how do I replicate that? And I don't have that answer, but it's an interesting thought of like, it does, I can hear it in you guys. Like, there's a beautiful freedom here of like I think the honeymoon phase is the best example, or best like term here of like, it just, everything was just rose colored all of a sudden. And it's I don't know how we get that in making art, but it's a good thing you guys did find it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now we get to just grow from there. Now we're just like, now we're writing, I mean, we're putting out an EP.
Hell yes. Congratulations.
Now, our third song's already out by now.
By now,
This
will be in the future.
Yes.
8-song EP's done. Should be out very soon after this. And we're almost done recording the next one.
That's classic band life.
And we're pushing what we did on this one way further on the next one even.
Hell yes.
It's
eager to
heavier,
hear.
it's bigger, it's
hell yeah.
cooler.
So I know the other big part of this like rebranding thing is it felt like with Doomscope you mentioned there's an intentional effort to like make a name and a brand and an image and identity and all these other aspects. One part is I know like the narrative that underlines a lot of the songs here. Where does this come into play here? Like was that like an intentional thing of like Half-Hearted lack direction, so with Doomscope we want direction, so we'll give it this narrative that then enables direction? Was it like a happy accident if you wrote 3 songs and went, beginning, middle, end, and then kind of expanded from that. Like, how did this narrative come about? I guess maybe what is the narrative for someone who's listening?
So I would say I don't know if I'll always do concept albums, but so the first EP is a concept EP. I don't want to get into super like what it is right now, but because it's probably not out when people are listening.
Fair enough.
But,
Yeah.
But yeah,
We've seen a little bit of it through Lifeblood, and I guess through Faux we've seen another little installation or another little reference to what this thing is. But
yeah. So I think I had just a couple songs done, and I kind of realized like, oh, I'm kind of writing about similar things here. The like, you know, characters in these feel the same as each other
cohesive,
in a lot of ways. And then I was just like, I kind of want to expand that just and make this EP like that universe. And then past that, I don't know, maybe we'll do a part 2 to this EP or something. But past that, like the plan for the next one is another concept EP, but a different concept. I think I don't know. Should we go? I don't. Whatever. I'll say.
I don't care.
The,
You say it.
The second EP, I'm gonna go into like I'm gonna actually do a concept. It's 3 songs about what the band name is.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this a little bit before, so yeah, I have some idea of what you're alluding to there. But yeah, I think it's an interesting thing, and I think like to me the concept is I think the challenge with like the modern music, we talk about singles, and singles are great. That's an awesome thing. Like I think people like complain about it. And to me, it's like you can't. I don't know. It's like complaining about global warming. It's like we can kind of do things to fix it, but it's like today and tomorrow. It's like there's nothing I can do today that makes tomorrow any warmer or colder. Like tomorrow is going to be the weather of what it is. And I kind of like the algorithm and all these like TikTok singles conversations similarly of like we can complain about singles all we want, but in 6 months it's still going to be singles. So what the fuck is the point of complaining about it? I think then the challenge for us and for someone like me as a music video person is like, well, then how do I take this single and make it matter in the context of the album, of the EP, so you go listen to it. The concept, the narrative here sounds like a really smart way to do that of like, this is going to be a singles thing, right? Like my assumption here is if there's X amount of songs on the project, we're going to see 60% of them before we see the full thing because that's just how things work nowadays. And it's like, so then how do we make people care about the full thing? And I think this is a really smart like through line to be like, this is why you care. This is why it's interesting. This is why the super fan should go above and beyond and really pay attention to each song instead of just fixating on the singles they like and forgetting half the album.
Yeah, and I think doing shorter things too. We wanted to get this first 8-song one. We didn't want to do more than 2 or 3 singles for, just because we're a brand new band. So when people found the first couple songs, we wanted to give them something more to listen to.
Yep.
So we didn't want to drag that out too long, but I think like when bands do like, the 3-song thing, I think that's cool, especially if I think like Plot is kind of doing a cool thing where it's like
so smart
3 songs, but it's 3 parts. So essentially you get an album, but it's 3 EPs.
And
like
even just the album arts, the way that they piece together is so smart because you see one and you go, there must be something
there's
else
something
here.
coming next. Yeah.
It's so smart. Yeah, it's
And
brilliant.
I mean, the first one comes out and it's called Volume 1. You're like, okay, they're kind of, it does kind of strip you a little bit of the like, if you know the band and you're a part of the rollout, it strips you of like sitting down and listening to the album. But I mean, that's just me being old and being like, I like to listen to albums. But
I also think albums like generally kind of are in chapters to some sense. Like I think that I assume there's gonna be 3 collections here, and if that becomes 9 or 10 songs, it's like I feel like most albums, like the first 3 are bangers, the middle 3 are gonna be kind of slow, and there's gonna be like an interlude, something kind of acoustic in there, whatever. And the end, we're gonna end on like a long 10-minute song that's like an epic in and of itself, which probably should be 3 songs. Yeah. So it's like I feel like most albums kind of have these chapters, and by making them,
split up almost.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you get all bangers.
Yeah.
Instead.
In theory, and I think for you guys as a band, it's like, well, then people also listen to all the songs. But I think my understanding of why the album has kind of died is because you guys don't want to work hard on 12 songs, put out 3 of them, and then have 9 of them not get heard.
Maybe up in the air. Yeah.
I kind of want to do a thing with this band where we don't do anything that's like I want any release that we have to be like a weird number of songs. Like I don't want to do anything that's 10 songs. Like, we'll make it 9. We'll make it 8.
We're doing 8.5.
We're doing 8. Technically, it's like
7.5.
It's like 7 and an interlude, but the interlude's really cool. So it's like, all right, then the next thing's going to be probably 3. Maybe we'll do
9.5.
and a half. Who knows?
In middle school orchestra, I decided that my favorite part of every song is a 49th and a half measure because it just felt like the most. And it's the same logic.
Right.
Of just, fuck this like structure and pattern. Just pick some part and do it our way and let it be our way. But I think the key there is like, we're not doing what we should do. We're doing what we want to do.
Yes.
And that sounds like
Yeah.
the important, and like this is kind of like like the number of songs is not the best mechanism to describe that, but it is the same energy. I think like radiates this whole project of like, fuck what we think is supposed to happen here. Let's just do what we want to do based on what we know, and then whatever becomes, so be it. Who cares? Beautiful. So then is Pleasure the first song like written here? Is that the first piece of the puzzle that's like cemented?
No.
Okay.
It was probably like the third maybe.
Yeah. I had 2 songs when we were writing for like what would have maybe been the like half-hearted internet project, like whatever, that ended up fitting like nicely into the story of the album, but they were written beforehand.
Okay. Can I ask if you said this is the third song, were the first 2 songs we have heard already or songs we have not yet heard?
Nope.
Okay.
All the singles are like heavily like written after about the characters. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Which ones? Oh, never mind. Never mind. I know which ones.
That sounds like a very
I
like,
kind of forgot.
Yeah.
it sounds like a very like
Dope-
intentional choice to like
dopamine.
go back and like make the highlights afterwards. After you've already like made the collection of songs, and you go back, okay, how do we introduce this collection of songs? Is an interesting problem.
There actually is a fun fact.
Okay.
I forgot about.
Please.
There's a song on the full EP that was a half-hearted song, and it was like a pop song. And then we decided like this is so good, but like it
Yeah.
sucks, and it needs to not be this.
Was it a song that was released?
No.
No.
But it was like when we were kind of like doing pop songs and shit, we like had it on the back burner, and we were like, this is kind of cool.
Interesting.
And there were like a few. There's probably like 5 or 6 songs that we never put out, and like that was just one that I always really liked, and I was just like, this could be so much sicker. And then when we had a few songs already, we were like, all right, we should revive this one real quick, and we should like make it
That is very
so
cool.
sick, and we did, and it's one of my favorite ones.
And then lyrically for that one, the chorus made sense, and I just got rid of all the other lyrics and wrote to fit the storyline of the concept.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it wasn't. I was assuming it was like the vocal melody that stayed, and then the underbelly of the song is what got reconstructed. But it sounds
Yeah.
like it was the
Pretty-
inverse.
Pretty much all we did was keep the chorus vocally, and then that was it.
Interesting. That's really cool how like things get reskinned. Where again, in my brain, it's like I can't reuse ideas. I can't like I guess maybe like that's not totally true. I definitely have ideas in the back burner that someone will say thing, and I go, this how Lyra came about for No Eye Has Seen. Is I'd been trying for so long to put a band under like Northern Lights, and I just hadn't had the thing come together. And then they said we want to do this thing, and I was like,
Hell
I
yeah.
got the idea
I wanna
for
do
you.
that too, yeah.
Let's go. So I guess there is some equivalency there, but it's a different thing. And I guess the nature of a band is having 100 songs in a backlog, and it feels smart to like go back in there. I think my cynical brain would go, we have 100 songs, but I didn't use it then why would I use it now? But you're right. It's like we've already done the work. Why would we not
Some just
mine
need a
it?
little more love. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if we had put that song out as the pop song, I would have been so pissed.
Yeah.
Like
I think-
knowing what it is now, I would have been like, "Fuck, dude, this."
I think
sucks.
to an extent that's why we didn't put it out back then, because
Yeah.
we were like, this is because it was, even though we like kind of leaned into the pop production on purpose, but it was kind of underlying still. Like it had some riffs, and we were like, maybe we save this.
Interesting. Okay, so then we write a couple songs. Or all the tracking and recording, I assume, is mostly done in house here, and then the photos all get done. Like, again, when this thing starts to ramp up, is it exciting? Is it nervous? Like, it feels like there's like the honeymoon phase of 6 months of just writing, of planning, of thinking, and then all of a sudden you text me and go, "Hey, let's get a video done." We message John and go, "Hey, we need some photos done," and it feels like that's when like shit would hit the wall, so to speak, or they're like things get real all of a sudden. They become tangible. They become like, was that the exciting part or was that like the stressful part? What is that process like of the last kind of tail end of this of like, now we have the thing we're proud of, we're happy with, we have the name of the band, we have this concept EP that we're very happy with. Now we actually have to do the thing and show the people and see what this thing is worth in like the court of public opinion, so to speak. Like, was that ending process exciting? Was it terrifying? Yeah. What is that part of like bringing this thing to market and finally like announcing DOOMSCOPE to the world?
I was excited.
Yeah, I was excited. I didn't care.
Okay.
I was
Yeah, for sure.
I was kind of stoked. I was just like, finally.
I was more nervous bringing it to you and Dom, to be
Interesting.
honest. And because I knew you guys would crush it, but I also knew that we had so much history that I wanted to drill into both of your heads that this needed to be so different in every way. And like have you guys in on the lore and the rules and like the stuff before, so you like got it. Like I was so worried about that because you guys getting it is what makes us look like we need to for people to get it.
it was an interesting challenge to like, yeah, we have this report, we've done so many things together, and I am still the same person who made those same things, and y'all are still the same people who made those things.
Yeah.
But now we're trying to be like, all right, pretend that never happened, kind of, and do this new thing. And it was an interesting challenge to me. And I think the pleasure video, go back to your initial idea here, but I want to be in a room of screens. And I remember hearing that and being like, what, how, where does this thing begin to come?
Yeah.
It's a great problem.
All the walls screens was the initial idea.
That is a feeling that like I love and I hate, and I assume there's an equivalent in audio here as well of like, I guess the audio equivalent is like writing the song and then having to learn how to play it. And this is a similar thing to me of like,
Sorry.
you don't have to apologize for saying
I'm driving the K5 home.
But
Drive my K5 home.
it is truly like a weird moment of like, that is the most exciting part to me of like, I've talked a big game. I'm very confident in what I can do. Now I have to prove it. Now I have to figure out how to manifest this idea. And it's a fun thing of, how do I make this idea? Can I make this idea? Where does my ability intersect with what I want to make? And how do I make this thing, then fit into what the band wants? And it's always an interesting problem. And that one I remember like going through a bunch of I start like a notebook and I like write out ideas and I write why it can't work. And then I go, okay, well, to solve this can't work problem, it's this. And it becomes like this big tree that sometimes is helpful, sometimes just word vomit that I have to go back and start from scratch.
You
on.
made it
awesome.
bigger than what I wanted anyway. So if anything, you were like, I hit you up and I was like, I want this. And you were like, well, fuck, I don't know what I could do if I could do this.
Yep.
And then when we actually got it back, you were like, so yeah, I made this 10 times what you wanted and made
Took
it
it
way
to the next
cooler. And I
level.
was like, oh, okay, sick.
Here's like an arena
here's-
production
yeah.
instead of a room.
I just
got-
like put you in the fucking Excel center, even though you were in my basement. Like, it's cool, whatever,
Yes.
fine.
We have a rule in the studio. Just make it harder until you get it.
Yeah, literally. That is that project. So I pitch the ideas, and then it becomes this thing of like, we have the demo, and we have this like basic shape of like a mannequin in front of a screen. We kind of know it's kind of the ballpark here. And then there's a huge like logistical issue of like, fuck, now I actually have to do this thing. Now I have to like do what I said I could do. And making the 3 screens with the performances was so much more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Because the key to me is like, when I first drafted it, there was going to be everyone on the same screen. And then I was like, that just felt boring. It felt reductive. It didn't feel creative enough. So then it was, how do I make 3 screens that are all cohesive and unique? So it like feels like it follows a song. So it was like making 3 videos out of one set of footage. They're all 3 separate videos that all kind of go together. And coordinating that and like the back end Premiere like video bullshit that you guys wouldn't appreciate, but I would love to sit down with someone who would and be like, look at this fucking mess I made.
I mean, I would assume it's like a music video in a music video. Because it's like I remember you sent me the screens first.
Yeah.
And you were like, do you like this? And I was like kind of confused. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I do. And then when you sent me the real thing, I was like, oh, I get
That
it
was
now.
exactly how it felt. It was 3 music videos inside
I
one
was
piece.
scared. You sent me the first thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this the video? I was like, I don't like this. But then once you explained it and you were like, no, this is just going to be on the things. Then I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I love that Jake had a similar moment with no IC and one of the videos I set up, and he looked at it and goes, I don't think this is gonna work. And then I show him the first take, and he goes, "Oh,
It's like, all
copy.
right.
It's gonna work." So I appreciate that because that is always something that I'm very aware of. Is like when I send something, it's like I know you don't know what's in my brain, but I know it's in my brain. I need to try and communicate to you what the difference is between where we are and where I know we're gonna end up here. But that video to me was 3 music videos. Where the first one is the screens, the second one is then putting you guys in front of the screens, and the third one is all this like white wall stuff that we did, which is like a whole new layer of this that always gets lost in my own brain and all the other challenges here.
Yeah.
And then it was combining all these things together. So it just became this multi-layered music video. That was a fun challenge, but a wild one to try and put together. We get to Lifeblood, and Lifeblood we start with Sean scaring the hell out of me with his story of these 2 characters, and I think the context, I don't know exactly what you said, but what made it into my phone is it's a story about 2 people fucking without fucking. And then it was, we have 2 gods that are fucking but not fucking. And then it was like, well, how do I, what are we talking
That's a
about?
crazy
What do I do?
sentence.
Not my words, but
No.
in so many words. Yeah, that's pretty much
It
what I
was
said.
an intimate story between
Yeah.
2 characters that I don't know how much you want to explain the lore, how much you want to let people figure out their own 2 cents of what they think it's about. But it was these 2 characters, and it was just this like, where do I go from here?
Yeah, Lifeblood is like the love song of the EP,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah.
It's the metalcore love song.
And so we talked about like using actors, and that just didn't like feel right. Because we want gods, we wanted things that were larger than life, and I couldn't figure out how to like get our friends back from Insatiable. And it's like, I don't know how we like turn this Bonnie and Clyde love story into God love story. Like, it felt like an entirely huge step to make. And then on the back end of that is the green screen stuff that to me was like, this is going to be a PS2 graphics. We're going to lean into the PS2 and go the gods. And then I get halfway into it and I go, I think I can do a lot better than PS2. I think we can get PS3, PS4. Can I get to PS5?
Neither of us ever talked about the PS2 thing either. We never talked about it, but it was just an unspoken thing.
And it was in the first demo.
I remember the first demo. I was just like, this looks sick. This is like OG like video game type shit. Like, this is cool.
And then somewhere in that process of editing, I was like, oh, this is looking better. Like, I'm selling myself short. I'm watering this thing down to make it PS2. And then it became a fun challenge to try and make it happen here. And then finally we get to Faux Gods, which is out now everywhere. The visualizer for that. And again, this was another one that I said I was going to do, and it sounded like it was going to be a great idea and a very easy idea at the time. And then I got very into it, and I was like, oh, this is not at all what I signed up for. Turns out making a guy walk... Don't apologize. This is 100% self-inflicted here.
Well, now you know how to do that. So now when someone else is
now
like...
you could like make a whole video game.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? I did make a video game this week. It's very, very simple and rudimentary. It's more like a Mario side scroller kind of thing, where it's like you jump over the pit and you hit the trampoline and then you avoid the cannons or whatever.
Can I play it? Is it playable yet?
It is kind of. Yes, it is playable. The reason I'm stuttering is because it's like, I have one level that is built, and there's a couple places where it's like the trampoline doesn't bounce you high enough to get on to the next level of the thing, kind of. So it's like it's playable, but it's fundamentally
really
profoundly impossible. Like, it literally, like, physically is not possible at the moment. But we'll get there.
You should just put it out like that and tell people.
Piss everybody off.
You can totally make one version that you can win. What do you mean? I win all the time. Look, watch.
I have the high score. Just add in the back end like my own high score. Pretend that I beat it somehow. Yeah. No, it was an interesting exercise because it was just I had a little bit of time, and I've talked about making me and Peter Murphy actually play like a mini golf video game like once a month, and we're the only people on Steam who play. Like, whenever we're on, we're 2 players online, and it has 0 players the rest of the month. And so like put this idea in my brain is like, I want to make video games that me and my friends could play. It just sounds fun, and it's like I'm already in the software that video games are made, and I'm using it for music videos. But it's like, why not just fucking apply this to an actual video game?
So fucking sick. I love that.
So I started this week, and my brain immediately was like, I want this to be fun. I don't want to make content out of it. And then I got halfway into it and went, can I make this like in the shape of a band logo? Like, could we make this like a DOOMSCOPE thing or a band thing? And of course, then I went through like, here's 10 homie bands, and which homie band would this thing fit best with?
And how do we bands could drop like on your merch store online, you could get like a band's video game. Buy it, you subscribe, you get a new level every month for like $1, dude.
That's fucking sick.
That was exactly
with a sticker.
Dude,
TM.
Our brains are going to the same spot. I just had a thing on TikTok about. I posted a clip from one of the episodes last week about like merch. What merch is printed on? What merch should be printed on? And this thing got so much more engagement than I expected it to. And all week I've been blown up about Comfort Colors and Hanes and AS Color and all these different merch things.
I miss AS Color, dude.
One of the big things that came up here is that people still love stickers. And I was like shocked by how much people still care about freebies. And it's like, that was where the video game to me fit in perfectly. Of like, what if you buy a shirt and with the shirt you get a shitty one-of-one video game that really isn't worth anything, but it is cool. Like a...
That's fucking sick. Dude, if I bought merch from a band and they gave me a video game, that was, even if it was shitty, I would be like, that's cool.
It's going to be a shitty 10-minute experience, like nothing crazy. But it was an interesting of like...
90% of the people that got that, though, would like tweet it and stuff.
Yeah.
It would be a thing.
And it feels like a very like niche... Yeah. I don't think it's going to materialize. I don't think I have the time or energy to really like flush it out. But I also don't know. Yeah,
you could figure out how to make AI do it for you.
I'm intrigued enough by the idea of like, there is something to be made here, and it might not be a video game specifically, but figure out new ways to add flavor to merch. I think it's an interesting trouble here, or an interesting game here to play. Beautiful. We are coming close to our hour here.
That was so fast.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Success. Fast is always a great thing here. Before I let you guys get out of here, I would be remiss if I didn't ask, like, what is coming next? We talked about some new music. Like, I would love a show to be in the future at some point. I would love merch to be in the future at some point. Is there anything we can say about what people can expect, what people can look forward to? What can people, get out of DOOMSCOPE in the near future?
Well, go check all our socials because we probably have announced our EP.
I love. We probably.
I love
haven't
shooting
had
this in advance because I hope we did. If we didn't, it'll be funny.
At this point, you kind of have to.
If we didn't, go look at our socials and leave us a comment saying, "You freaking goobers, you didn't announce it yet."
somewhere,
you'll know.
I love it.
somewhere Ryan
take
O'Bear
all
is typing
blame.
up a message.
Yeah. You know what? If that happens, I'll send you one song early.
I mean,
Damn.
sick. When did you say this is coming out? The 6th or something?
February 6th or 7th.
Okay, so
maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll have 3 songs out by then,
Yep.
and then we'll have 5 more coming.
Beautiful.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna list a date on this podcast because I haven't said it yet.
Beautiful.
But within the next 2 weeks, I will have said it.
Beautiful. Would it be?
It'll be in probably February.
Within the next like month or two, or like 6 months.
It'll
What would
probably
it,
be like February.
damn.
coming.
Put that shit
It's
out.
coming.
We're cooking. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
We're on
He
the
looked at me.
horizon.
He looked at me like, for real? Oh shit.
Yeah.
We're all learning things.
I'm just trying
I
to
guess.
I'm just trying to get this shit out. Fuck it.
I love that because we have like I was saying, the next ones we're
we're out of
nearing.
no
we're
more
like-
videos. Now we got to do new videos for
Yeah.
new things.
Yep.
We're nearing the end of this one, so we need to. I want to ideally. I don't want to go too long between the EP release and then the next single.
Yep.
Because I feel like.
I agree. I think that's
Yeah.
a smart
Yeah.
tactic thing.
Keep
here.
it
And
right.
I think since the next one, he'll tell me I'm wrong later probably, but I think since the next one is only 3 songs, I think it would be cool if all of them were singles and then they all had a video and
Yeah.
they just but
Sure.
we also did them really close together maybe.
Hell yes. What are we hoping people like? What are we actually hoping for from Doomscope here? And this feels like a huge question, so I'll qualify it a little bit here. And what I'm getting at is like, I heard the interesting like hypothetical posed of like, if you could make a living but have no one, if you could make a living, like if you get on stage and make a living but the crowd didn't give a fuck about you, or you make no money and the crowd loves it, like what are we hoping for from Doomscope here? Like is this about the process of creation? Is it enough to just be in the studio and making the thing, or does it need the validation from the outside world? Like, is it a sold out show that would make this thing feel like it's accomplished and real? Like, what are we hoping for? What is what is the desired outcome here? Or is it just, we want to keep doing stuff and who gives a fuck what anyone thinks about it?
I mean, we run like all our own shit. Like
Yeah.
he records everything. Like I run all the socials. Like we only literally you and Dom are the only people that we like
Outsource.
do other shit with. So it's like
we just kind of consider you guys part of it anyway.
yeah. So it's like if people weren't about it, but we were still having fun, it's like we're still gonna do it.
Yeah.
But like
I
in
feel
terms,
like none of the above. Like I kind of, I don't want to say I don't care if people like it because it's always cool when people like stuff but like I just want to make stuff that we like and like push our own boundaries.
Yep.
Like when I'm saying like, oh, the next stuff's heavier, like I always want to, it doesn't always have to be heavier or this or that or whatever, but I always want to kind of be like, hey, on our next EP, we have this thing going. How can we like push this aspect of it like further?
it's not. So it's not that heavy is the goal. It's that ambitious is the goal.
Something is
and
the goal.
ambitious is always
growing in some way direction without losing the identity we have of the last thing is the goal, I think. And past that, as long as the 4 of us are happy, I don't really care.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to be and the only place to do it. But it is I don't know. I have this weird thing, and I'm curious to hear your take of like, whenever someone comes up and says they listen to the podcast, my first thought was always like, why? Like, do something. And it's this weird thing, right? Of like, I do this because I want to hang out with my friends is my number one goal, and like putting it out is a way to like justify more people coming here. Of like, if I did this and I never put it out, it'd be very hard to go to someone else and be like, come talk to me and film this thing that's you don't benefit
it's
from at
just
all.
for me. It's just for my own collection.
And it is just for me, but I understand that to entice other people, it can't be just, I understand that's a very bad business model is to come do this only for myself. Like, if your studio didn't put the songs out, you just had people come record the song and just, they died on your computer to be like, all right, this is a nice way to spend my afternoon, but I don't know if this is prosperous or successful.
It's
fruitful.
easier for me to have that perspective too because I have a Jay.
Yeah.
Like Jay is very smart, business savvy, and like good at that stuff. Like I get to just.
I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm winging it.
Yeah. Okay.
No
But
tap shit.
It.
I get to just.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
Sorry, Parker, I meant to open one of mine. That's
I get to just
stole
like
your shit.
push buttons and have fun.
I ruined everything.
No, it's okay.
That's fun.
But yeah, it sounded like a fun thing to interrupt you this time.
For me, it's like if we like put out all these songs and people really like it, and they're like, yo, when are you like? If I'm getting hit up all the time, like, when are you playing a show? When are you playing a show? Then it's like, shit, we should probably play a show. Or if it's like, when are you gonna do merch? When are you gonna do merch? Then it's like, all right, we should probably do merch. Yeah. But for now, we're just gonna like put out a bunch of songs and see like, what's the fucking band? Like Bill Murray, right? They didn't fuck. They were just dropping songs. For mad long, and then until literally they were like, well, we have to fucking play a show now, and we have to tour, we have to do things because there's so many people that really like this. So for me, it's kind of just like, we'll just do this shit, and if people like it, cool, and if not, then I'm happy. Yeah. Cool. We're just doing our thing.
Shows will be fun if people, if like people want to see us live, then shows would be really fun for us to go play and like, but.
I know this existed forever, but like Shadow of Intent to me, like singularly like validated the online band thing. Like I've ever seen that pop up and be like, oh, it's cool. They like doing music. They're doing stuff together. Like, good for them. I'm happy they're having fun. And then of course it's become what it's become. And
were you at the first show? Were you there?
I think I was. No, no.
Shit.
I'm aware.
I feel like I saw you there, but that must have been a different show.
It's also very possible that I was there.
Show ever.
That was
lying,
correct,
but
dude.
I don't believe so.
Like that would be sick, dude. If we played a show and the first show is like, like sold out or something, and it's like, oh, a lot of people wanted to see us. Oh shit, like that would be sick. You know what I mean? So if it gets to that point, cool. And if not, we're just gonna keep doing our thing.
Yep. And I think that's the wise move, because it's like VFWs are great for getting stage time. I don't know if they're great for building an audience. And I think that there's like I think shows serve two purposes there, and one of them is stage time, and one of them is the audience. And it's like, at this point, I think we've been to all the VFWs, and it's very hard to imagine going back into the VFWs.
I feel like it just depends on the genre too. It's like if you're like a hardcore band, like you fucking thrive in VFWs, and that's sick, and you have crazy fucking people fucking spin kicking someone in the face in the VFW, and it's hard as fuck. But like, would it make sense for us? Probably not.
Yeah. Or just like what your goals are.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it makes sense for us to go play VFWs. Like,
but if there is a Point Beach reunion show,
oh yeah,
I'm fucking there, dude. I'm there, like, dude. The cops are coming again, dude.
And when we
Our
went
set
out,
time is 1:30 a.m.
Yeah,
sorry.
I was gonna say it's after 1 a.m.
When we went out as Half-Hearted playing VFWs, it was like we were kids and we were just like, let's play shows for fun, you know.
This is where I look back at like, shooting that first 100 shows in my first year is like, that was all, it was all VFWs, it was all those local shows, all those bars, and it's like, I don't have that in me. Like I just don't have it in me.
Wait, you really did 100?
100 shows.
It's fucking crazy.
I think it was technically like 88 shows and like a bunch of like a couple like promo shoots and merch shoots, and like I call it 100 because it's a much sexier number to say than 88 or whatever the number was.
We were definitely like 5,
but I'm sure you were a couple.
We were 5%. Hell yeah,
something like that. Yeah, I would love to know the number of bands that is, because that's the more fun comparison to me. Is like it was 88 shows and there's at least 5 bands a show, and then it was a couple hundred bands.
Tiny bit of overlap. But
dude, I was thinking about this the other day. I used to like, when I was like really young, when I was like 12, 13, like, and I was starting to go to shows for the first time. Like I would have like a list of like every band I saw and like how many times I saw them, and then at a certain point, I just started to go to too many fucking shows, and they were like, smaller shows where it's like, cool, there's 6 bands playing, but you only know 2 of the bands, so it's like, fuck, what was that first band that played? I don't even remember. So it's like you lose it, and then I just gave up on it. But it would be so sick if I had like a fucking archive of like every single show I've gone to, because I would like to know the number. 100%. That'd be cool. Yeah. His would be crazy. Yours would be fucking insane.
It would.
Yours would be insane.
I was gonna say, like, my dad growing up, I always looked. He had a box of like his old ticket stubs. It's like nowadays, you're not saving ticket stubs anymore. It's like everything's digital. You go to the show, you like scan your phone. It's like, and he's got a whole bucket of just like all these crazy ticket stub concerts, and it's just crazy.
Yep, that's my wall over here, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
say,
you have that too.
Basically to pre-pandemic.
I have a box.
Since then, it's been
shitty.
Yeah,
I need to put them all. I need to do that.
Build a frame at Home Depot for $10.
I still get some tickets though, because if you get like will call, you still get tickets.
Yeah.
So it's like I do have some, but a lot are just phone and shit, like you were saying.
I like saving that because most of those are the 100 shows, or like plus whatever, and so it's like I think people see it and they go, oh, it's a cool thing, and it's like it is a cool decoration to me, but it's more of like, no, this is what it took to be able to talk into a microphone about this and feel like I have any right to talk about it, like exist in the world.
Yeah. So I mean, this is your job.
Yeah.
You know,
it feels like my resume.
You earned it.
But yeah, it doesn't always feel that way. But I guess that gets into imposter and all those other fun artistic things that we'll save for another episode here. we fucking did it. Episode 89. I'm here with DOOMSCOPE. Is there anything? Yes. Follow him on social media. Sean, I'll put you on the spot here. What is the social media? Where can people find DOOMSCOPE online? Where's the best place to keep up with the band?
DOOMSCOPE Music everywhere, right?
Yep,
everywhere at DOOMSCOPE Music.
We made it the same at so many bands.
Beautiful.
As I've learned working with bands for my literal job, so many bands have different ats on or different little website things on different ones. So I was like, yo, ours is gonna be the fucking same everywhere. There's only gonna be one thing.
It really helps that our band name's a made-up word.
Yes.
I mean, other people probably hop on and they're like, "Oh, it's taken on this and not on that," and then we're left with bad options on both. You know.
Yeah.
We made up a word and put music after. Easy.
That is a smart. You're right. As I work on distributing band shit and helping tag people and shit is a big nuisance trying to figure out who the fuck is what on what platform. And you're right. That's a huge asset to have. Beautiful. Parker, where can people find you on social media? Where can they follow you? Where can they keep up with your personal shit? Tell you that you're a great drummer and celebrate everything you've done today.
Oh, thank you. Instagram is _ at Parker Fortune.
Cool.
Got a lot of drum covers out. I'm going to be doing a lot more with Sean recently soon.
Cool.
And then, follow DOOMSCOPE.
Beautiful. Sean, I know studio's up and cooking. Yes, if people want to book a studio session, where can they contact you? And then if they want to keep up with socials, where do they follow you?
Sean Dalkey Audio on everything. Hit me up on socials.
And SeanDalkey.com, I believe I also saw.
SeanDalkey.com. Yep.
Hell yes.
That's good too.
Beautiful. Jay Kingbird, I have 2 challenges for you.
Oh no.
One of them is socials. The last one is to give us the last word of the episode here. So no one's going to say anything after you. You're going to say something. I'm going to push the big red button here, and the episode is over. I've only given Ryan this responsibility, and I think he said something crazy, and I'm really hoping we can get something even worse out of your mouth here. So yes, I'll keep rambling for a second to give your brain a second to churn.
I can't wait.
What I need is, where to find your social media, where to contact you for booking, whatever the fuck. And then give us, it can be your favorite food, it can be an idea about the band, it could be fuck something, fuck whatever you don't like. I don't care what it is.
This is so good.
The last word is yours. This is me. I'm signing off. We did it. Leave a like on the episode, leave a comment, subscribe, have fun. Jay, where can people find you on social media? And where should the episode end?
My Instagram is at Jason Grandel. Twitter's dead, but like my Twitter's still JbirdHH. I don't want to change it. I can't make it JbirdDS. People are gonna think I'm like a video, like a gamer. You know what I mean? That'd be weird.
J Doom.
I don't know. Friend me on Facebook. I don't fucking know. That's where you find me. That's what we got going on. You know what I mean? All right. You want me to really say something crazy? Dude, I have one question for you. Dude, what is your wife's Instagram? I want to take her to see new Wallace and Gromit movie.